Thanks
It's
for
great to
coming.
be here. I woke up 45 minutes ago.
Oh. Do you always sleep in really late?
Since we got this tour bus, I've been sleeping till like 1.
That's good though that you're like getting sleep. Some people can't sleep on their tour buses.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have that issue.
Yes. And it's completely blacked out in there, so you can sleep like till 2 o'clock.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it's great.
I wouldn't go back
Except
home.
when I have to get up for things like this.
We're really difficult. I'm so sorry to put you out of your
Free
way.
pizza though, so
But you have to go get some though. Did anybody bring any to you?
I'm still deciding if I want to start my day off with pizza.
This morning I've had so far to eat today donuts and pizza. So like relatively speaking, you should go for pizza. It's healthy
Yeah.
There's
and then
protein.
donuts.
on there.
It's great pre-show food.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt is on vocal rest right now, so we're just going to be hanging today, which we're very excited about. And that's a very unique experience. Most people kind of are like, all right, so here's like my 2-minute thing that you're going to get to know me, and then, okay, here's my song. But you kind of don't really have that problem because your songs are basically like your diary almost. You kind of put yourself out there musically, and obviously like the songwriting itself is really therapeutic. But how does it feel to go from essentially writing in your diary to bring it on stage and kind of opening it up to the public? Like, is that also therapeutic or is that more like destabilizing?
It's definitely also therapeutic, I think. 'Cause it's like I did shows for years where no one knew my music, so it was therapeutic and like I get to kind of tell my story. And then as of, like 2 years ago, the crowd started singing the songs back. So hearing them sing the songs that I wrote like that are, a lot of my lyrics are like vague enough that people can make it, relate to whatever they're going through. So you see them out there singing it so passionately about what they're going through, which is really, really rad.
Yeah, and that's kind of like dope too, because you have such a very unique like story. Like your songs are all about things that are very specific to you. Like, have you gotten a lot of like, oh my God, I relate to this like so much, even though you have that like very much sense of uniqueness to the songs?
Yeah, definitely. Mostly from Christian kids, edgy
Yeah.
Christian kids.
Yeah.
Because I was raised in church all my life. My dad was a pastor. I travel with their ministry, so a lot of my lyrics are like about my struggles with faith and everything like that. So when I did that Need to Breathe tour, I did a tour opening up for them. That was super interesting because it was a mix of like these edgy, confused Christian kids that are like, whoa, someone understands me. And then like these like 60-year-olds with like their grandkids that are like, did he just say GD it? And like getting up and walking out. So
Yeah, and your parents are very like into their Christian music too. They were like in a Christian heavy metal band, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely chilled out a lot. They're still doing their prison ministry, which is really, really cool. But, my dad, he always listened to, like, heavy metal music and stuff. But they just wouldn't let me listen to it until I was, like, 14.
Were they like, no, this isn't hypocritical? Or
Well, I see where they were coming from because I was trying to listen to, like, the worst music.
Did you ever sneak anything in?
Yeah. Like, I remember the first time I did that, I asked my dad if I could buy, I don't remember what AFI album it was, but I saw it at Hot Topic, and I didn't even know who the band was. I was just like, that's cool. And he said, no, I couldn't buy it, and I bought it anyway, and he found it, and I got in trouble.
They let you into Hot Topic.
Yeah.
I'm a former Catholic school kid, and my parents, like, when I dragged them into Hot Topic, like, 7th grade, and I was like, Mom, Dad, this is who I am. And they were like, you're satanic. And they were just like, oh, no, yeah, Hot Topic, this is right.
Yeah, they let me have, like, spike bracelets.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was tight. I was tight.
You were, like, the coolest kid.
I was super dope.
So they've chilled out now, though? Like, was it ever a strain that you kind of obviously went the secular route with your music?
Yeah, it just got to a point where they couldn't really regulate it anymore because I was literally making mixtapes in like 2003 because it's the
Were
only
you the
way.
SoundCloud guy?
No, like literal mixtapes.
Like legit mixtapes.
Like yeah, because it's the only way I could get my hands on Christian music was I would listen to the radio and then I would record it on the tapes and then I would walk around. All my friends had like iPods and I'd be walking around with a tape player.
What were your favorite artists to listen to? Because right now I'm just like imagining you being like, I'm rebelling against my parents and I got Fergie on my
No. I didn't even know who she was at the time. It was like emo bands like Linkin Park and like stuff like that. But
emo forever.
Yeah, and then it started getting into like Lil Wayne and like people like that, and that's where my dad's like, "What did he say?"
I was gonna say, didn't they have like a heart attack? Did they make you go to church?
Yeah, for sure.
Once they
I
found
mean,
that
I
out?
chose to though until for most of my life.
So for you, the guys that don't know, his parents did a ministry in like maximum security prisons, and you did a lot of performances there, starting at like 17. But how does that happen? Like, I obviously understand like doing a ministry out of prison, but how are they like, you know what? Let's put our kid in this too.
I mean, it was more like me. I was like, I want to tag along, and so I just started. I did one with them, and I was like, well, that was tight. Like that was really cool. And then I just started traveling with them, and then I stopped. Like when I moved out of my parents' house the day I turned 18. I paint my parents to be pretty bad, but like they're not.
Maybe you're just really independent. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be on
no,
that.
they're good parents. I'm just a shitty kid, and I moved out the day I turned 18, and then I got into a bunch of trouble for like a year, and then I was like, all right, I need to like calm down and like get back on the road with them. So I did it for 2 more years with them after that, and then after that is when I really started to make my career happen.
What was it like performing in a maximum security prison? Is that like in the back of your head the whole time, or are you like, nah, these are like normal people?
It was pretty much just like normal people the whole time, 'cause I mean, I went in there when I was like 17, and my dad would always drag me along with like stuff he did. So it was just like another normal thing. I guess it was a little weird at first, but then, by like 20 shows, it was just like normal. Like stuff didn't happen that often. It was crazy. The craziest thing was like getting into the prison. They would want to check like everything. They would literally like open up your sandwiches and like look in between the layers of your sandwiches.
And you're like, listen, man, like I rebel by listening to AFI. I don't
Yeah. You don't know who you're letting in here.
That's hilarious. So like, have you had your I've made it moment yet, where you're like, yes, I did it?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't have to like worry about paying my rent, so that's tight.
The most millennial answer ever.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
also
for me,
so
that was
true.
it. Yeah, music is paying my bills. That's all I needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you toured with Bishop Briggs,
Mm-hmm.
who is amazing. How was that?
It was cool. It was really cool. Those were big rooms. That was like one of the biggest tours I'd done at the time. I got sick in the middle of it, though. That sucked.
You keep getting sick.
Yeah, I know, and I'm super healthy. I know I don't look it, but
He won't even have
drink
pizza right now.
Kip knows, my tour manager. I drink juices every day. I eat quinoa bowls. I'm doing everything I can.
Well,
and I
then maybe
still
that
get
means
sick.
you have to go the other way.
Yeah, maybe I should just start doing a ton of drugs.
Maybe
and
you're
I'll be good, dude. Yeah. That's a
Okay,
very
so you
industry
really
thing
took
of
the
you to
other
say.
way, like to the extreme there. You're like, what's the
That's so
opposite of
weird.
quinoa? Drugs. I was thinking like donuts, but okay. I think we want to open it up to some audience questions. Oh, Nikki's got a mic.
What do you want? Now's your chance.
Oh,
How's it going?
Great.
So, what led you to do all the stripped versions of your songs that are out there? I've noticed a ton of them out there, some of them pretty amazing.
We did, I think the first one we did was the cringe stripped, and we just wanted to do it because all the songs I write, 90% of the songs I write alone on an acoustic guitar. So getting that like original feeling of it, and that's how I used to tour too, was just an acoustic guitar. And people seem to really enjoy that, and some people like really like the full band stuff, but they're like, man, I want to hear the more intimate, like, something that's closer to the actual song. And so we just started doing it, and they started doing really well, so just kept doing it. Yeah.
all right. We got another one.
Okay, so I'm a singer-songwriter, and I actually cover your song "Cringe,"
Cool.
the stripped version. So that was perfect timing.
Nice.
But I have a question for you, for somebody that's not trying to make it or pursue it full time, but would absolutely love to. Like, how did you tell yourself to keep going? Like, where do you find motivation? And your lyrics are very raw, and I appreciate that a lot. And so, like, did you ever find that it was like I don't know, were you ever nervous, like just getting up, performing your heart and soul in front of people, or is it just something that's always felt right to you? And do you tell yourself to, like, I don't know, just hang in there? Like, how did you make it?
Just thinking of that
That's a
little
lot of
like, cat
questions.
with the hang in there thing.
Yeah. Oh, God.
No, I mean, I was definitely so nervous when I like first started performing. I would get really, really nervous. And then eventually, you just practice enough and you get good enough that you're comfortable with it. And so when you get up there, you're a little more confident. You're like, all right, I know I'm probably not going to mess this up. But I don't know. It was just an underlining thing of I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. And if that's the case and nothing else feels like worth it, then I might as well just, live in my car for a year and travel the country doing open mic nights and do everything I possibly can. Like, my dad was definitely someone who, like, instilled the, like, dude, your time is now. Like, eventually you're going to be 30 years old, with a mortgage and wife and kids or whatever else. And so I took that very literally and traveled the country in my Hyundai Elantra that I called Carmen Elantra.
That's great.
And I just went for it and kept grinding, and then I eventually got a job at a desk job. Like, I kind of gave up on it for a little bit, and that job was the worst job of my life. I was a loan processor.
Oh.
I didn't even graduate high school. I literally said in the interview, he was like, what are 3 of your strengths? And I was like, I'm always on time, I'm a hard worker, and skateboarding. And then I got that job. I was like approving people's loans. So I got fired from that. And I was like, all right, man, I might as well just do everything I can. And I mean, we're just, after almost 3 years of really grinding, touring nonstop, going broke, having money, going broke, having money, we're just at a point where we've actually laid out a foundation that we can really build on. Like I was saying, we're in a bus now where I can actually sleep and like, have a tour where I don't get sick. But it's really just about being like, this is the only thing I care about. And then if that's the case, you just got to go 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I am currently doing open mics, and I had Ellie Elantra was my car. So it's good to hear that there's still hope.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We good? Anybody else have a question? All right. So your album is Bank on the Funeral.
Yes.
How was the writing process for that? Do you like sit down and get everything out and like have like set scheduled sessions, or are you just one of those spur of the moment? Here's my inspiration today. Let me like bang out a song.
It's like a mix of both. Like some of those songs, like that actual song Bank on the Funeral, I wrote that like sitting on my bed in like 45 minutes because it just came out. And then there's songs like Beggar Song that took like 2 years because I started writing it and then I just like put it aside and then it came back up and I was like, this is actually a great song. I ended up writing the rest. And then some of them are like co-writes, like Go Easy and Tread on Me. I wrote with my buddies in Captain Cuts, which is this production trio. One of the guys is from a band called Group Love, and these other 2 guys are like just producers and songwriters. So sometimes I go in with like co-writers, sometimes I just write it by myself. There's no real formula for me.
Do you find that there's like a preference between the songs that come out of one process versus another?
I definitely prefer to write alone because I feel like I'm a little more authentic that way, I guess. Or it just feels like I can be more honest because I'm not sitting in a room like, what if we try this lyric? And they're like, I don't know. And I was like, pouring my heart out, dude. But
Your heart sounds like shit, man.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll be in those co-writing sessions and I'll say a line that I think is brilliant. And they're like, yeah, but I don't really get it. And I'm like, all right, man.
They didn't spend that time in Hot Topic.
Let's just move on. Yeah.
Getting those little pins that you could put on your
listen
vest.
to enough Linkin Park, man.
Obviously not. All right, new single, Go Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
That song, so that's one of the co-writes with Captain Cuts. And we wrote that song on a writing trip in Nicaragua. So we were in like the jungle. And we were waking up like every day. It was like 5 days. Every day we would do, like I would go in with a different producer or songwriter in a different like Havana or whatever. And we'd write a song. So we were like 3 days in, drinking so much tequila. And I woke up on the 4th day. We all woke up. We were all up until like 5 a.m. And we were all so hungover, and we go in. I'd never even met these guys before, and we sit around for like 5 hours trying to write a song, and like nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, one of the guys, Ben, started playing a little like riff on the guitar, and I was like, "That's cool." And we just started going off, and then we wrote that whole song in like 2 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here today, even though you had your vocal cords not exactly working with you. But thank you for doing this.
Happy to
and
be here.
yeah, let's all hear it from Matt Maeson. I think we want to do some pictures, yeah?
Sweet.